Hey everyone, this is Brian with Provision Studios, and today I wanted to share a quick video with you guys that shows my synth layering process, where I take like a simple synth sound and then I broaden it by adding different synth instruments or synth samples to flesh it out, broaden it, thicken it up, and make it a little more interesting to the listener. What I have here inside of Studio One is a new idea that I'm working on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on one section of the song that kind of is emblematic to what I wanted to share. So what this is a simple synth idea, a simple progression that I've stacked 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's got 4 voicings of like a lead upper register sound, and then I've got 1, 2 lower bass sounds to thicken up the low end, and then I have a choir. So the choir is just to use to add kind of, you know, that angelic kind of sound that I really enjoy. I grew up when I was in high school playing in orchestras where we would assemble with like All-State Orchestra would perform with the All-State Choir, and we would have these big concerts at like Atlantic City Convention Center and like that, and we would travel around, and I just always enjoyed being able to perform with the choir what it added. So that's always stuck with me even today as I write. I always like to try to add some strings or a choir, even if it's more of a rock sounding song or a pop or alternative kind of sounding song. I still like to keep that, my roots, my orchestral roots in all that I do. All right, so I'm just going to let this play real quick, and this is the full all instruments in, and then I'm going to go through each one and then show you how they create the final sound. Go into a B section that is piano driven, and we'll come up right here. Choir comes in. On the piano is added in the left hand. And in here, everything comes in. Anyway, so that's what we got. Let me start peeling it down so you guys can hear all the voices that were used. The first one, and this is the central sound of the idea, the concept. I opened up this instrument, Analog Lab Pro, which is one of my favorite virtual synths, and I found this sound. There's usually 2 ways that I work. I either am playing a part that I like on the keyboard, and then I hunt for sounds until I find a sound that I like that works with what I'm playing, or I do the reverse of that. I'll start with a sound and I'll try to write like a sound that I like, and I'll try to write something or play something that sounds good to that sound. Either way, I kind of get to the same end where I find something that's pleasing to me creatively. So all right, so this is where the whole thing started, with this sound. So that's your like sort of your lead synth. Obviously, it says leads, and that while that does work, when I'm layering, I want to add depth and power and punch and stuff like that to make a section of a song or an idea, a concept, have a little bit more heft to it. So what I did next is I added a pad from the same virtual instrument, and that sounds like this. Again, I just copied the idea and pasted it down and added this instrument. Alright, I did the same thing. I copied it and pasted it and added this instrument. It's the same virtual instrument, just with a different sample, and that sounds like this. With the previous one, very similar, but they work together well. They contribute to the overall sound. And then I'm going to add in the top for you. All right, so that's basically the foundation for the synth layer. All right, so I wasn't done yet. I wanted to add a little bit more. As I was creating, I was like, you know what, there's something else I want to add there. So I go to my tried and true. I got a plugin by Cale Alden that is a retro 80s plugin that takes simple synths and runs them through like a tape emulator. So it adds a little warble to the sound, which to me is awesome. So that sounds like this. I'll put this plugin on almost everything I do. Not this sound, not this sample, but they basically all do the same thing. They all run through this tape engine that takes whatever sound that you're running through it and gives it that kind of 80s, it's that vintage kind of 80s sound. So, and I'm huge into that era. That's where I was a teenager in the 80s. So MTV was huge. All those synth bands that were coming through in the 80s just really had a huge impact on me. So this plugin, when I first heard it, I was like, man, I gotta have it. So let me play this along with the other two pads, so you can hear how like the bottom is. Then I'll throw in the lead sound to bring it all together. This is without that bottom rewind. Back in. Lead sound. And that's it. And that's how I came up with the synth sound for this new idea. Okay, cool. Sounds great. Rah, 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 rah. Why do anything more with it? Well, if I'm just going to have it be a synth piece, it's going to need some more elements like the choir I mentioned earlier and the low bass. There's really no bass here. This is all mids and upper mids and highs in this layering. So what I would do then is I would go and I would start bringing in some bass instruments, trying them out and seeing what works for this idea. So I started with the low end, again, that same plugin that I used for the top three voices, but I used the bass section, cycled through until I found a bass sound that I liked. And this is that sound. I love the character that adds, and that just goes, you'll see right here on the playthrough, that stops right there and it drops out. And what the reason why that is this is the same sound that I use at the beginning of the song, and right now it is still playing at the beginning of this B section, or the next section of the song that I'm playing for you guys, as a way to bridge the two ideas together, because emotionally they hit differently. One is more upbeat dance kind of, and then this section is more of the angelic kind of emotive sound. So I use this bass sound to bridge the two sections. Still not done yet. I wanted a thicker, more big bass, so I brought in my Nexus 5 bass pad, which this is probably one of my favorite synth samples that I have. I put it on a lot of things, and it sounds like this. With the other one, awesome. I just love how they work together. All right, and then finally, I add the choir just to give that kind of angelic sound that I spoke about earlier, and it's just a soprano voicing, and this is what it sounds like. And all together again, that section sounds like this. Jump ahead to the next section. This is the piano driven part, and obviously you can't have a piano driven part without a piano. This is the piano instrument that I use, and I just started with a simple piano idea, and then I layer again. So here's the piano concept. And that's just the right hand playing chords, and then I'm going to introduce the left hand low end, and when that lower left hand comes in, that's also when my soprano voices come back in, so that will sound like this. So there we go. I also, at the beginning of the section, you'll see right here that it has these two areas that are grayed out. That means that they are not going to make any sound. I could delete it, and then there wouldn't be anything there, and it would be blank, and it wouldn't make a sound the same way. But I keep it here in case, as I further develop the idea, if I want to enable that to hear how it would sound, it's just real easy to right click on it and put enable, and then instead of me having to click and drag or play something in there, it's already there in place as a placeholder in case I do want to make it live again. So anyway, for this first section, it's out, and I'm just adding in these two pads from the earlier section, and that sounds like this. I'm going to take out the piano so you guys can hear all the pads alone. Piano and choir. All right, so then that plays through there, and then it resolves into the all-in section. where all instruments come in, and that's gonna. I'll play the tail end of this into that section so you can hear how it sounds. And again, everything comes in right here. That's it. That's the idea. All right, so I'm going to show you guys a real quick preview of the intro. It's a different style, so this is kind of a working concept that I have here. It's got different emotions, so it's going to carry itself differently than most things I write. Although I shouldn't say it like that. I do often add elongated changes in emotion in the middle or at the end of certain pieces. This is going to be one of those, but the beginning section has a reprise at the end where it comes back. It ends the way it starts. So here's how the whole thing started with this sound right here. Anyway, that's what I got. That's what I'm working on. I just really wanted to show you guys my method, how I go about layering stuff. So if you ever wondered how do people get certain sounds, or one of your favorite songs from when you were younger, you hear like maybe The Final Countdown or Don't Stop Believing by Journey. You hear these synthesizers and you wonder, that signature sound, where did it come from? In most cases, they've done this. They've layered it. Very rarely is it just a single sound that you're hearing on the radio or in a music video or in a movie. All that stuff, in most cases, is layered with multiple samples, multiple instrumentation to thicken it up, to round things out, and to make it more pleasing to the ear, a little more interesting as well. All right, so if you guys like this, please leave in the comment section. Tell me what you think. I would love to hear your feedback. And if I don't talk to you, I hope you guys have a awesome weekend and a splendid holiday season with your loved ones. Thank you very much. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye now.